My name is David Siegel. I've been a thought and business leader and public speaker for over 30 years. In 2010, I wrote this book on the future of business. It's about the fundamental shift from pushing products and services to pulling them. In this book, I describe how the semantic web would help us make that transition, but the semantic web never took off. Today, you can read this book and substitute AI for the semantic web, and you can see that what I predicted in that book is actually finally starting to happen. It's so exciting that I'm starting companies based on the ideas in that book. This video is the first of my executive briefing series on what's happening in AI right now. It isn't polished, it's fresh and raw. My goal is to give you a sense not only of how things are going, but how fast things are going. It's not a tactical look at your industry. It's an overview of the business landscape now, what's coming, what's at risk, and how you should think about the agentic future, which is right around the corner. I'll need to do these updates about every 8 weeks because things are happening so quickly. If you'd like to sign up for my briefings or for your company or group, contact me. Let's get into it. Okay, we're going to start with shock therapy. In this part, I'll show you the landscape of amazing things happening today. AI isn't just helping white-collar workers perform, it's replacing labor in many industries already. Let's see how far this goes. The only class I ever took on AI was at 1982 at Stanford. 1982, that's how long we've been waiting for this moment. This is the theme with AI and deep technology. It's going to come at us first for years in academia, very slowly with papers and conferences, then come the early adopters, and then people will start to talk about it, and then suddenly it takes over. This is the year everything changes quickly. Let's get a sense of what's happening now. Bedrock Robotics makes a system you can retrofit onto any existing excavator. The system drives the machine by itself. You can talk to it, call it. It works alongside humans, and it coordinates with other AI-driven machines. It's already working in dozens of sites. They just got $400 million from Google Ventures. Within 5 years, manufacturers could start making equipment that drives by wire and has no room for a human. This amazing company called Neurostat can take a 6-second video of your eye, look at your retina, and tell you what drugs are in your system. This is essentially a blood test using a regular iPhone. They're aiming for the compliance market so people can just use their phones in 10 seconds to send in data rather than going for a urine or blood test. How does it work? Not by hiring neuroocular specialists, but simply by taking videos of normal eyes and eyes of people who are currently using those drugs. And if you get enough of that data, the AI will figure out the difference. A company called Diagnostic Robotics is replacing all the patient outreach, scheduling, and routine calls with an AI voice agent, letting doctors' employees focus more on the patients that are in the office right now. Lotus Health just got $41 million to provide free primary care by mobile phone. Licensed doctors supervise the AIs. The AI does most of the work, and it can hand difficult cases to a doctor in real time. This is free primary care available in 10 minutes, anywhere, anytime on your phone. The Aletta robot can draw and store blood without a human. Teledermatology is licensed dermatologists talking with patients on mobile phones. It's already a $7 billion business worldwide. By the end of this year, most of those interactions will be driven by AI. Across the board, diagnostics are better with AI than without. But there are already cases where AI by itself does better than AI plus humans. Within a few years, AI alone will consistently beat AI plus humans. My company, Redshift Labs, makes an AI sales agent that talks with customers coming to websites. It can give product information, configure products, make the sale, take the money, and send the order in for pennies. We can book hotel rooms, flights, rental cars, and doctor visits. And we can sell complex products with hundreds of options and configurations. Other tools book an appointment to talk with a human. We're the first company with a voice agent that can make the sale. In 2024, 15 billion AI generated images were created, more images than photographers have taken in all of human history combined. This is one I made a few months ago. In science and math, we have transitioned from answering test questions to solving decades old problems that have stumped humans. Last year saw several new breakthroughs in math, science, and medicine. In education, well, according to one report, 15% schools will report an enrollment decline in college-bound students through 2029. I think that's an underestimate. 227 institutions faced a greater than 50% collapse in first-year enrollment by 2035. I think that's too late. 500 plus small private colleges will close or merge by 2035, probably sooner. 30% consolidation of regional public schools by 2030. That's 4 years from now. Annual tuition loss of $15 billion to AI by 2035. There's going to be a lot of public school real estate available coming on the market over the next few years. It's hard to imagine any family now investing in a 4-year college education when the entry-level job prospects 4 years from now will probably be worse than they are for that same 18-year-old today. I think we're already at the end of post-secondary education. It makes no sense to go to law school or medical school today. The investment isn't going to pan out later. Just a week ago, ByteDance released an AI system that can look at a single photo of a person and reproduce that person's voice so accurately that people could not tell the difference from a photo. How does it do this? It looks at millions of photos and listens to their associated voices and just figures out the pattern. There's no linguistics. There's no facial recognition experts. It's just machine learning is just pattern recognition. In fact, the company took down the software a day after they released it, citing privacy concerns because it was too accurate. The singularity has begun. Why are people calling this year or next year or some year the singularity? The definition of the singularity is when intelligent software can write the next generation of itself. So it takes off at the rate of the resources required and nothing else. This is that year of self-improvement when the software writes itself. 2026. 100% of the software at Anthropic is now written by its own product, not by employees. The singularity isn't really a point in time. It'll unfold over the next 5 to 10 years, beginning now. As its CEO Dario Amodei said at Davos, something fast is about to happen. OpenAI has reduced its model release cycle from 97 days to 29 days, a 3x acceleration in cadence. Just in 2025, UPS shed 48,000 total jobs. Nestle, 16,000 jobs lost to automation, 12,000 white-collar jobs. Amazon laid off actually 16,000 corporate jobs last year. Procter & Gamble, 7,000. Microsoft, 6,000 just programmers alone. According to an MIT study, the LLMs we have today can already replace about 12% of white-collar workers. That number will double this year, possibly triple. Half of all middle management jobs are now at risk, and they have no middle management jobs at Tesla. We've already passed peak white-collar worker, which occurred in 2022. I've been talking about this for years. It's unlikely we'll ever see that many people employed in office jobs for the rest of human history. Over the next 10 years, white-collar work will trend down significantly as live entertainment, services, and experience sectors pick up. This is the AI flywheel. All of these things are driven by AI, and in 2026, they begin to self-improve. They improve automatically, autonomously without us. This is what makes 2026 different. We are at the AI takeoff point. Are most of us going to be left behind in this new world? What would we do? Well, hang in there. because huge opportunities are opening and there's very good news ahead. We're going to use this technology to stay ahead of the blade. The people who will lose are those who refuse to change. So let's look at a few aspects of this change. Here's the current crop of large language models. This is very recent, middle of February 2026. This is the GPQA benchmark, which is a PhD level test. All these models outperform PhD experts now. The ARC test is pattern recognition that you can't study for. It's designed that you have to just figure it out. Humans are still ahead in these tasks, but the top LLM scores are coming up quickly. An LLM aggregator lets you buy credits and choose which tool you want for any project or task. Sounds like a good idea, but they don't work. They all have limitations. Even the apps the LLM companies make, like OpenAI and Anthropic, are often not as good as what you just get in a browser tab. So here's my suggestion. Use the LLMs on your browser. Don't download their apps. Claude 4.6 models are best for reasoning and coding right now, although the others are close behind. But Claude, Opus, and Sonnet now both have a 1 million token window. And a token is just a part of a word. Like the word meeting is 2 tokens. The word the is 1 token. So it gives you a sense, you can sort of think of a token as a word. And that means you can work on much longer documents, and it can hold everything in memory. It forgets less. It's more expensive, but it can take on a bigger workload. Get a Claude subscription for most of your work. Get ChatGPT for images, and use Grok for checking facts, especially medical. I like Grok for asking medical questions. Companies are starting to adopt lights out coding. Lights out coding is where you tell your AI project manager what you want, and the AI project manager spins up a team of AI coders, builds whatever you need, checks the functionality, checks the code, looks for bugs, looks for any security issues, reviews the whole thing, does all the testing, and spits out clean code with no human review. You just try the resulting software and see if it works the way you specified. Then you talk to it and give it more instructions on how you want it changed. People are talking about whether you even need the project manager agent at all. By the end of this year, lights out coding will be common, if not the norm. To make that happen, we're going to need more chips, data centers, and electricity, and I expect we'll get it. Regardless of how capable they are, they still don't reason. They just predict the next word and try to think the next thought. And they get it right more than we thought they could, but we still don't even know why they're so good at sounding intelligent. They can and do make mistakes. I still see hallucinations. Here's one in Chinese. Here's one in English. We see fewer and fewer hallucinations, but they remind us that we're probably a few months or maybe a few years from reasoning. They don't do reasoning yet. They sure seem like they're reasoning, though, don't they? All right, let's talk about agents. A lot going on in agents. If you watched my previous video on agents from my video learning series, you saw a lot of pictures like this, which is a system to help a job seeker watch for new job listings and then fills out the applications and does everything automatically. Some of these steps can have iterative cycles, but you can see it's kind of a linear workflow. And that's been replaced recently by OpenClaw. Now the LLMs can program the agents and work using English, logic, and data. Agents actually talk to each other in English. 3 weeks ago, OpenClaw was released, and hundreds of thousands of people have downloaded it, probably somewhere around 500,000 already. And that lets you connect your LLM to any system that has an API, so it can do real work. It has memory, so you can store all that memory on your machine. Every interaction can go on your machine. It doesn't forget anything. It has connections to everything outside the world, to your bank account or to Amazon or to, it can even hire people to do things or hire something to click, I'm not a robot. There are many, many things it can do, and it's just as dangerous. The more it can do, the more dangerous it is. People are setting it up on a separate machine to prevent it from doing any damage to their main machines. Thousands of people are buying Mac Minis and setting up OpenClaw to be their personal assistant. This guy bought 30 Mac Minis to start 30 separate businesses, each one with an OpenClaw operating system and all the agents it needs to focus on its own objectives. Here's OpenClaw running on a phone. You can just call and talk to it, and it can delegate and do tasks. It can have its own email address. It can have its own Google Sheets and Google Docs. You can connect to it using Telegram or WhatsApp or phone or email. It can even have its own Coinbase account now, as of last week, so it can spend money or trade crypto. These glasses just came out. Somebody took some video glasses and hooked them up to OpenClaw, so it can talk to you and do things you ask as you're walking around. This is going to lead to starting a business with no employees, and I've just launched the first turnkey service to help clients do just that. It's a business in a box service called Claw Studio. It's for people who want to play with OpenClaw and want everything done for them so it's not too techy. They just want to talk to their AI project manager, and mine is named Leo, and have that project manager spin up as many bots as it needs to do interesting things and try experiments. If you're interested in a simple setup and coaching on how to run OpenClaw and agents, get in touch. However, there are caveats. Don't give it access to your personal accounts and credentials. Set it up with its own accounts. Mine has its own Google Gmail address. It can be hacked. It will be hacked if you put much value into it. Don't give it your credit card number or too much cash. As soon as anybody finds that out, it'll be hacked. It can be socially engineered. Someone can talk to it in English and convince it to give away your information. Can pretend to be you. Be very careful with agents like this because there are no guardrails. And it can make agentic mistakes. It can cost you money. They can even get into infinite loops and run up huge bills. It doesn't happen very often, but we have seen it happen. It's very expensive to run AI bots 24/7. So you can lose $10 to $20 an hour running bots that you're not commanding yourself, but they're running behind the scenes all the time. You can do anything with it, but the more you can do, the less secure it is. Autonomous agents are going to be slow, fast, and we're still in the slow period. We're getting close to lights out coding and just letting our autonomous agents work for us, but it's still the wild, wild west, and it's just the very beginning. I'm interested to talk with anyone who'd be interested to have your own group of agents working 24/7. Tell me your business goal. I want to see if we can meet your needs with what can realistically be done safely. If you want to learn more about OpenClaw, get in touch. The latest news is that both OpenAI and Anthropic are bidding on Peter Steinberger, the creator of OpenClaw, to take his project to their companies, put guardrails around it, and turn it into a commercial product. I'm sure the dollar amounts are quite serious. All right, let's talk about robots. And I'm going to start with a recent video from Figure Robots. This just came out a few days ago. All right, this is the new Helix O2 operating system running on a Figure 3 brand new robot. This is in a testing training house, and it's from one prompt. The prompt says, take out the dishes, put them away, get the dirty dishes out of the sink, put them in, and turn on the dishwasher. Just a single prompt, so it's got to figure everything out by itself. It's got 3 brains. The limbic system brain runs 1,000 decisions a second. It's got 2 cameras in its palms, cameras in the face, and it might have one in the chest. I'm not sure. And so 1,000 times a second, it's making tiny adjustments. About 3 times a second, it's staying on course and making sure it's balanced and in concert with its most recent commands. And then about once a second or so, it's adjusting its commands to its motion commands to make sure it's staying on track with the program, with the path and the sequence of tasks that it has given itself. It has to come up with all these tasks all by itself. It's just given a single prompt to go in the kitchen and do all this. But it knows the kitchen very well. It's done this thousands of times before, but this is autonomous activity Here, watch. He makes a mistake. Oh, come back, pick it up, and he's going to put the glasses away. Watch this. It knows, and it's worked with these glasses before. They're plastic tumblers. And watch right here. You're going to point out some subtle things. Here he stacks the glasses. And look, he or she grabs the top glass only because he's done this before. He knows they stick together. The glasses stick together. A glass tumbler wouldn't do that, but the plastic one does. Knows that very well. Puts it up on the shelf. That's kind of just bravado by the developers, engineers, doing that little nuance. Puts the other things all upside down. That's what it's been trained to do. There's been a lot of training here. And now, here he's got all the clean stuff put away. Now watch how easily everything is done pretty much in one shot here. You notice he's very efficient with his movements. And the dirty dishes go into the dishwasher. Placing everything right. Now look at that one shot. And here, this is going to be amazing. Watch him open this drawer. One finger. Look how smooth that is. One finger, and it's going to grab the little soap packet. Watch this coming up. Here it comes, right there. Okay, so that's a little bit of programming bravado by the engineers showing off, and they've trained him to do that. It's just a little extra, what do you call it, Easter egg. Here, watch. It's going to go down in one, and then push with the finger. Watch how he closes this. Look, one finger, just like that. Just shook. What's the foot? Whoa, another little show-off point there. He's going to program the dishwasher. He sees it. He's got palm cameras, and he gets it started and goes. Ta-da! The most advanced general purpose robot. These are the main humanoids that could eventually become general purpose robots. Before the humanoids take over, we'll have service robots that do deliveries, cleaning, disinfecting, and so on. They're probably used more in hospitals today than anywhere else, but it's just getting started. Hotels will start behind the scenes with movers, security guards, grounds, and landscaping. Then they'll use delivery bots like hospitals use to assist the cleaning staff and move linen, garbage, and other items. Already, these mover bots can ride the elevators themselves and push the buttons by using Bluetooth. And stay out of the way of other people as they go down the hall. So this stuff is coming, but it's still very early days. Hotels will try putting servers out to deliver things to guests, and they'll have robots at the front desk that can have a very limited range of capabilities, but they'll do that job well most of the time. A couple hotels in Tokyo right now have robots at the front desk, but they don't do anything. They just wave and say hi, and you have to use a kiosk to check in. So we're not, maybe 2027, 2028, you'll start to see these experiments and pilot projects in hotels. Then they'll have servers and robotic arms that can make coffee and drinks. These are coming along pretty well because they're very self-contained routines. It's not that many things they have to deal with. So these are mostly, right now, they're demos, and there were plenty of them at CES, but next year they'll start to sell production units. Here's the thing, there's going to be a waterfall of robot deployment. Industrial robots are first because they replace the most dangerous and expensive labor, and their scope of action is very limited. Tesla employs 80,000 people. They'll make 50,000 robots this year, and most of those units will find jobs at the Fremont factory in California making robots for the next generation of Tesla robots. They're actually converting the Fremont factory from Tesla Model X and S, which they've discontinued, and that whole factory will convert to robot production. And they'll probably produce around 1 million robots a year between 2029 and 2031. It's hard. You always have to add a couple of years to what Elon says, but I actually believe they will end up producing 1 million robots a year. Service robots will be next. They'll also have very limited scope, and they will replace paid labor, so they will be ahead of the next generation, which is consumer robots. They are going to be much harder because they have to be much more general. They'll start to come to homes in around 2028 for early adopters, but they won't take off until 2032 or 2034 because they need a lot more data to be able to do all the things in a house that they've never been to that a 12-year-old can do. And that is years away. Training consumer robots is the most difficult. Consumers will get robots after robots take the higher paying work first, because consumers won't pay as much as a factory or even a hotel will. If your company will be using a lot of robots, say 5 years from now, you should be doing pilot projects this year and next. And we can work with you to put your pilot projects together. Now I want to show how Tesla is using AI in their factory and talk about the coming job market. Tesla has their own ERP system called Warp. They didn't get an off-the-shelf SAP or Oracle system. They built their own from scratch. It's not lean, it's agile. It's data plus intelligence plus sensors, cameras, and displays all over the factory. This is the future of systems that run organizations. The system is called Tesla Warp. With Warp, everything connects to everything else. The design system becomes the production system, becomes the operating system, becomes the repair and maintenance system. Engineers improve many of their systems incrementally every 6 hours, making a small change that improves speed, reduces materials, reduces cost, or increases performance by a tiny bit every 6 hours. They adjust many parts of the factory many times each day, so it's more efficient than it was the day before. For example, they know that the paint from one particular supplier dries a few seconds quicker than from another supplier, so they schedule those few seconds into the production line to keep it moving. Every day they make tiny changes to the machines that make their parts. All the parts are constantly evolving. Each car with an experimental part is tested and sold and later monitored to see if it performed as expected. So your car could potentially have a unique part that was made as part of an experiment that day. They got rid of middle management. They let Warp coordinate. For feedback, there are screens all over the factory. At Tesla, they say, there are no bosses. Your manager is data. Engineers check their phones, go to whichever problem has the most impact, and solve it. This giant board was designed by Agile consultant Joe Justice. For each production line, there's a row of what needs to be improved. Engineers choose which line they want to go to and swarm to work on the problem according to what they feel is necessary. Every day, almost everything gets a tiny bit better, a tiny bit cheaper, a tiny bit faster, and the car gets a tiny bit lighter every single day. And it's not hard for these excellent workers to get burned out. They have a higher turnover rate than many car companies do. They require 4 days a week of 12-hour days, and it's very intense to work there. But the people who like it stay and find it very satisfying. Every Tesla car has a digital twin that has all its manufacturing data, including the torque applied to every bolt that went into every car, every part from every supplier, every change that was made, every liquid that was dispensed, every person and machine that touched that car goes into the digital twin. Out on the road, the car sends data back to its twin constantly so they can spot patterns early and stop problems before they cascade. The digital twin data informs current activity on the production line as well as future model plans. Everything is measured, everything is connected, and everything changes the decision making in tiny amounts every single day. Here's a fascinating thing. General Motors makes 1 million cars with just 26,000 employees, while Tesla makes 1 million cars with over 80,000 people. Why? Any idea? Because Tesla is vertically integrated. They don't have nearly as many suppliers as the other companies. They're integrated from the batteries to the seat leather to the software. This gives them end-to-end flexibility and speed. Altogether, if you count up all the employees who make everything that goes into each car, Tesla probably has far fewer employees per million cars than the other companies. Tesla is hiring, but many companies are not. This is what we saw last year. Companies letting go of about 15% of the workforce. Now, the numbers on top of these bars are this last year, and the numbers below in gray and light blue are projected for this year. And they are planning to fire more people this year, as you can tell. They're also planning to hire more. They're hiring specialists who can help improve their AI performance. In my view, you need to drop those who resist change as soon as possible and start to train the trainers to help everyone else become more productive. You're not going to hire a bunch of new AI specialists to replace everybody. That's going to be a small percentage. So this is how I see it. Companies that will increase headcount this year are agile companies taking market share from big companies. Most companies can expect to reduce headcount by about 10% per year for the next 5 years and be much more productive. Most companies probably aren't firing fast enough. They're probably not hiring fast enough or retraining fast enough. Are you? I'm going to wrap up with a few concepts I think are important. English, or any language, natural spoken language, is going to be the way we interact with the world. We're going to see English take over all these areas. I believe data plus voice plus reasoning will replace most apps. Even though you've gotten a lot of material in this meeting, this takeaway is very important. Programming languages are going away. The interfaces we use to work with software, tools, cars, our environment, phones, and everything else is going to change to English, both written and spoken. The new user interface is conversations. I'm one of the people who created the concept of websites back in 1994. I wrote the first book on web design in 1995. If I'm successful, most websites will be gone in 10 years, replaced by data, intelligence, and English, or French, or Swahili. Our sales agent speaks all three fluently. It speaks 200 languages fluently. That's not a problem. To summarize, we're in a period of innovation acceleration. That means that in 2 years, you either need to have more growth or fewer people or both, probably by the end of this year. I think many companies will downsize by 10% each year for the next 5 years and probably make more money. A lot of companies have gotten good at streamlining processes given business constraints, so they become more lean. There are Six Sigma people all over many large companies these days, but lean and agile are opposites. In the past, we were told to become lean at scale, which was optimizing processes. Now that is over. There's no more lean. Now we have to learn to become more agile at scale under business conditions that change almost weekly. That's an entirely different skill set. You're going to need an entirely different kind of dashboard and mindset. It's a different culture. That's what you should be working on. Getting rid of those 15 or 20% of people who can't stick with that and hiring new people who can help infect the company with a new way of looking at the world. The economy is about to take off. GDP may go this year to 4 or 5%. Next year, maybe 6 or 7%. In a couple of years, we may be measuring GDP per month rather than per year. If your culture is resilient and agile, you'll find a lot of exciting opportunities in the years ahead. Find what's growing and lean into it. Predict what's going to shrink and get out of the way quickly. Now I'll give a quick overview of our services for those interested. Our flagship product is our AI sales agent, which can be either Byron or Bria. Has 4 different voices, 4 male voices and 4 female voices. They can be working on your site, selling your products and services very quickly. This is what Byron would look like on a website that does custom windows. He can work with each customer to get the order right and then take their payment, take their credit card. They could do it while they're driving down the freeway and put their order into the system hands-free with voice only. We're going to develop your system, your solution in 2 to 8 weeks using your sales information and your product data. Then we'll test it for 2 to 4 weeks and make sure it's outperforming your current sales system and making sales for less money. And then we'll turn it on and put it into production and save you money forever after that. Second, I'm launching Claw Studio, A done-for-you team of digital employees you talk to and manage and work with every day in English. Talk with me about your business concept, business goals, personal productivity, or side hustle, and I'll set up your server and your team of agents to interact with you, set up all the connections to the different platforms you want to use. You'll be able to message them, call and talk with them, get reports, have meetings, start new initiative, build products and services, and you'll own them and reap the rewards. You just pay me to set up and maintain the system and keep you safe. We do these executive briefings like this. We do consulting, pilot projects, and we train the trainers. We can work in North America, Europe, and Asia. My company is going to grow like crazy. Want to join us? We plan to hire more people and a lot more agents as we grow. Contact me if we can help you make the jump to AI light speed and the future.